Alright, well, my name's Harry. I'm originally from London. I, yeah, I first heard about the Tree of Light. I was sort of had a calling to do ayahuasca for a few years because of my life experiences. I lost my mother at an early age. Sort of had a difficult childhood after that. I had several traumatic experiences in life. My father got a serious disease, autoimmune disease, scleroderma, and it was very aggressive and killed him pretty quickly. Yeah, and in the aftermath, after his death, sort of was really traumatic on me as well. Yeah, and from that I developed obsessive compulsive disorder, which was sort of ruining my life basically in that sense. Yeah, so but I discovered ayahuasca a few years ago, and I was looking into it, researching it a lot, and it wasn't until I come across Tree of Light retreats that I thought, this is definitely it. This is the one that feels like it's a safe enough environment to go through the process, because it's obviously from research it's not easy at all. It takes a lot of courage, and you have to really face some demons as well to be able to transmute it. So yeah, it was the right time. You know, I was making excuses for a while. You know, I had obligations and, you know, things like that. Anything to try and say, right, it's not the right time, but I was sort of run out of them, so I needed to come and really deal with it. But I'm so glad I did, because I've made some massive breakthroughs, and some transformations have been amazing, you know. My experiences from each session were quite interesting. So I'd say, like, the first sort of experience, it started like an MDMA experience. It was kind of like really euphoric, and it was something that I was used to, you know. So I was like, oh, okay, I think I've got this, you know. So I lit up on my Vacho and was like, yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the Icaros, and, you know, it's quite a gentle initiation. But then Mother Aya just like turned the voltage up extremely high to the point where it was overwhelming, and you're just cowering from the energy and the intensity, you know. It was amazing. Yeah, that was a continuous theme, but it was on the second ceremony that I decided to take a second glass, and with that experience, it was more. It was painful, that one. It was a kind of a dark experience. I had to experience my mother and father's pain and suffering in their death, and it was transmuting onto me myself. And I felt like I was dying also myself, so that was very difficult to get through that for that ceremony. But the euphoric love feeling never left. It was always there for every ceremony. And I don't think it was after the third that I had a dream after, and I sort of it showed me the source of the trauma and the suffering, and it actually came from the womb of my mother. For me, she was obviously she was very ill, and she was advised it wouldn't be safe to sort of have children, because I had an older sister that was she died at childbirth. She was like an hour old, because my mum's womb wasn't strong enough to sort of, I think so anyway, she wasn't strong enough to nurture the baby properly. So when she was pregnant with me, she had so much anxiety and fear that I wasn't going to survive. I don't think anybody expected me to make it. So all of that was sort of transmuted to the womb, and so I've been carrying it from the start. Do you know what I mean? It transcended all my life experiences to that moment. That was the source of it. So when I found it, I think I was able to finally, well, say, purge in a way. I was never able to actually purge. I don't know, front ways, to say, you know, every other hole but the mouth. Strange, yeah, but I think I finally got there. I'm hoping. It was, but every experience was. I had two difficult experiences. The other three were beautiful all the time. But that feeling of love never left me. And I think on the fourth session, I took a lower amount. because it was hard for me to navigate the process and to understand the message, what was being portrayed. And so a smaller dose was enough for me to really go deep and sort of try and objectify what was going on, and sort of do my own kind of alchemy in a way to turn the darkness into gold as such. She explained that your lessons are about love. This is what I'm trying to show you, is that when there's love that's this powerful, fear just transforms. Every single thing it changes to complete love, and you're just so calm and relaxed and present, and everything just feels right, and that's what I was feeling after every session. I was carrying that onwards. And she was saying that you need to love yourself the way I'm showing you this, the intensity of it, and it was really intense. You need to love yourself this way and love others the way. You need to come from a place of love. If it's away from love, it'll always work out, you need to respect the darkness and the shadow, because it wants to be heard, as you said. It will make itself known because of it suffered itself. That's why it's present. You know what I mean? So but if you come from a place of love and respect, it will transform, and you can free yourself that way. The fifth session was totally different. There was no euphoria, no love this time. I was thinking, oh wait, this is going another direction this time, and I just started to sweat, like really sweating, like profusely. I just strip down, like to sort of deal with it. I was like, right, this is different. It felt like a fever, and then all of my traumatic experience came back to me in those moments. Like they were just flashing through, and my body just started to really like shake. Like it was just crazy, like really like convulsing, shaking. It was just shaking all out of my body, and I think it was kind of like shaking out the trauma. Like every single thing that was flashed in my mind that I'd experienced in my life was sort of intensifying the shaking, and that went on for a couple of hours. But then I finally got it out. I finally got it out, and I felt really clear. Like there was no kind of niggling or gnawing in the stomach anymore, because it really used to pull and try and unearth it and get it out, and it was really stubborn, because obviously that fear and anxiety has been there from the womb. It's been passed on from my mother. I think I'm hoping it finally got there. And then after that, it came back. The love came back again. It was just like, this is your message. I was learning about the power of love, basically. I know it sounds kind of really cliche, but it is a real force. It's the most powerful force ever you can ever experience. So I need to make sure that going forward, like in future endeavours and anything you do, you must come from that place. Whenever you're faced with darkness, and that you need to make, you need to acknowledge it, but also, understand that the power of love. If you give it love, it will set it free. It sets you free in that way. So it's an amazing experience, unbelievable. My experience, apart from the medicine, has been the best I've ever experienced in my life, without fail. A wonderful collection of individuals, everyone, all the participants. One or herself is just amazing. She really gets. She starts. If you're struggling, she'll help you, and she does know that you're at a point where it's killing you inside. So there are moments when she will purge for you, and she will release that, and you can move on to the next thing that needs to be dealt with in that session. She's amazing like that. She's so compassionate and loving. It's unbelievable. Yourself, Pedro, though, is just a pure alchemist. I've never known someone who's so talented at various ways of transforming that. The darkness in that way. Such soothing icaros that just when you're on your knees, it's like a beacon. It's like a siren that's calling, and it's just really like what's the word for it? It's just really it's like a saviour. Because it gets really hairy at times, you know. It does really, you need some real stones to sort of face that, you know. I would never thought it would have been at that intensity, but it can be. So you need really to make sure that you're surrounded by people like yourself, Carolina, Juanita, that really understand the process and they help you through. There's nothing you haven't seen, so it's yeah. I'd say that's the most important part of the choice. The decision is to make sure that you're in that environment that is able to sufficiently deal with the situation. Yeah, for me personally, I would never use another. I would use another retreat or another shaman even. You know, it's just sort of like you bond through the process, but sort of probably more deeply than most families, brothers and sisters. It's just because you're completely open, and it's kind of liberating in a way when you do that. Like there's no mask, there's no blockages with anyone. All of us here, the group, you know, it's just like we've all seen our darkest moments. So, you know, you can only go up from there, can't you? So it's amazing, yeah. Yeah, but particularly that there's so many kind of methods that you can use, Pedro, like either musically with the Icaros or just wisdom and knowledge and guidance about things, and it's just crucial. It really is. It's crucial, like, because you can really understand, because it can leave you in dark moments after ceremony, but obviously that's leading on to the next, where the lesson's always continuing. The message keeps coming, but you can be in some moments where it's you think, oh man, like maybe I don't trust this process, or you know, maybe it's got bad intentions or something like that, you know. But it's really just it's just leaving you to process that darkness, so you're able to go, okay, kind of objectively, or you know, just to be present with it, just to learn a lesson, and it will move on. Do you know what I mean? But the tools that you've got and skills are integral to sort of hanging in there till the next one, you know. I remember that obviously after the second session my eyesight was gone for a few hours, but obviously that was just the medicine staying there and working with me, because I forgot to mention I've got like a serotonin deficiency, so it was sort of working its way in the serotonin, starting with the brain, and obviously that was causing my eyes to be out of focus for a little while. That was a bit scary, but and then it sort of moved down to the stomach, the other area where serotonin is produced, and it was just working all through that over a period of a couple of days. So it is amazing like that. It is amazing. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I think the third ceremony, I think the third or fourth ceremony, I could physically feel the medicine was doing like a surgery on the brain, like a brain surgery. It was moving around and sort of rearranging sort of neural pathways and changing them, and it just really opened my heart after that, you know. It just completely took away my resistance and blockages, which is something you need to be aware of if you're going back into a world where, you know, it's not, like, you could be vulnerable in those areas. So you need a bit of integration time to sort of be present with it and sort of come to terms with it, but it does feel amazing. It's amazing, yeah. Best decision ever made, without a doubt.